Hey, you guys, it's your girl, Yvette Green. I am opening up this new year with a new lease on life. I am looking over my last 10 years right now because we are nearing the end of 2020. 2020, when you think about it, it's supposed to be vision, perfect vision. And if I can sum up my 2020, I would say, and some of you may be with me, that it was forced upon us to sit down and reflect on our life. It was forced upon us. And I hope that many of you that are listening to this did just that. I know for a while it took me some time to actually just sit and be still for a long length of time. It took me some time to do that. And it happened because I started becoming very, very overwhelmed. I started sinking into a bout of depression. And normally, when I feel myself getting into that dark space, I'm able to lift myself back up. But for some reason, I couldn't. It was an everyday thing where it was like nipping at my ankles, that bout of depression. And it was like, what is going on here? And it's funny because I was looking on Instagram yesterday, and a fellow entrepreneur, she had posted, to sum it all up, what she was saying is, just when you think that you've healed from those things that have broken you, bam, here comes something else. And it forces you to start back at start. It forces you to start where you may feel like you just came from. But I think in those instances, because when we're on this journey, we pick up tools, and I've spoken about this before. The tools that we pick up, we're able to use. Sometimes, once we go to a different chapter in our life, we don't think that we're going to encounter something that can floor us the way things may have happened prior to us gaining knowledge about something. But it does. That it's a normal part of the process that you have to fall down sometimes in order to pick yourself back up. Sister Green always say, if you never fail down, you'll never know how to get back up. And that's true. So sometimes we encounter these chapters in our lives that make us feel like we're starting from zero, when it's really not. We're actually starting in the middle. But because of that pain that we're feeling, because it like gut wrenched us, it makes us feel as if we're starting at zero, but we really aren't. So when I was encountering that depression again, I felt like I was sinking because it was new to me in this chapter in my life. Like, that was totally new to me. I wasn't used to feeling that down, and for no apparent reason. It seemed like it was like, girl, you are in a much better place than you were in 10 years ago, which I'm going to speak on. What is going on with you? Why are you just being ungrateful? Because this is my conversation with my father upstairs. Yes, God, this was my conversation. Like, God, I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but I'm not happy. Like, what is going on with me that I'm feeling so down? So I decided to, like, pull back from some things. I pulled back from my social media. I slowed down a little bit at work. It was like, okay, I'm running. Girl, slow down. Slow down and smell the flowers, because you're racing through life. Because in my mind, it's like, girl, you messed up the last 10 years of your life. You need to keep running so you can catch up, because there's so many people ahead of you that's your age. even though, you guys, it doesn't matter when we start, it's all about starting. And you can't, and I'm talking to myself here, you cannot let what other people are doing in their lives affect what you need to be doing in your life. Because if you're constantly looking behind you to see who's back there, or looking in front of you to see who's ahead of you, you're never going to get anywhere, because you're going to be constantly frustrated. And as I was unpacking my life, I'm realizing that that's what was going on. Like, I was getting frustrated with myself because I knew that for a great deal of this decade that we're about to leave, 2010 to 2020, I wasn't in a good place. I spoke about it before from 2010. When 2010 came in, things weren't looking bright for my marriage. It was not looking bright at all, but I wanted to hold on to it because I felt like that's who I was. I felt like that was me. And if I were to lose it, who would I be? Who would I be? So in 2017, I went on this journey. I went on this journey of finding out exactly who I am. And it's taken me a while, but I am slowly but surely getting there. And it feels awesome, you guys. It really, really does feel awesome. So when I encountered that depression that kept on sneaking up on me these last, probably, I'd say November, since November, it was sneaking up on me. I was like, girl, like, what is going on here? It took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting it. But anywho, you guys, this is what happens when you're recording on your phone and someone calls you. You have to pause and take the call, especially when it's your son. Anyhow, like I was saying, it surprised me because I hadn't felt that dark space. I hadn't been in that dark space in a long time. Even though depression is something that I battle with, and I tell myself when I wake up in the morning, capture your day, capture your day. It was getting harder and harder and harder for me to capture my day. Like, it just wasn't happening. Nothing was making me happy. It's like I was sinking and I was like trying to hold on, and it was not working. It just wasn't working. So what I had to do was I had to pull back, and I was forced to pull back and reflect on all of these years. I was forced to reflect on, from my 2010 up to my 2020, and I can see the progress that I've made, and I'm looking very much forward to 2020. When I tell you, when 1201 hit, you're going to hear a big sigh of relief, and y'all going to be like, yep, that's Vet. That's Vet. She breathing a sigh of relief, because I am ready for it to be over. I'm ready for 2020 to be over, just because for me, one of the things I realize is that family means a lot to me. Like, I love my family. I love being around my family. And when you are already 400 some odd miles away from your family, and then because of COVID, you can't see them, that makes it even more challenging. For me, that made it even more challenging. I know there's some people who live in the same neighborhood with their family and wasn't able to see them because of COVID. It's been tough for everyone, financially tough, mentally tough. There was at one point, and I am a person who loves to be in the house. Like, I do not have a problem being in the house, just being in the quiet. I don't. But for me, I found myself getting cabin fever, and it was like, I need to get up out of this house. Like, I am about to lose my mind if I don't go somewhere. And I think I took a drive to the mailbox or something. I mean, I didn't really go anywhere. The first time that I had even really gone out for real, to the mall was when the Bath and Body Works candles went on sale. And I went in there, me and my nephew, we went in and we were shocked by the amount of people who were actually out and about. That since March, I hadn't seen that many people like be in one place together. So it kind of floored us for a moment, and we stood there for a second just looking around in amazement, because it was like, wow. But anyways, you guys, so this is not going to be a year in review for me. This is a decade in review for me. When I tell you, when 2010 came in, my life had changed. Like I was saying, my life had totally changed. And the person that you see right now is not the same person who was back there. You know, I love her, that woman who was back there, because she had to deal with a lot. She had to deal with so much, and she's so strong, and she is still very much within me. But we had to grow and become this woman that you see right now. And through it all, through all the tears that I cried that had my face, you know, I felt the warmth of the tears on my face. It was bringing forth my purpose. It was bringing forth who God knew me to be already. At that time, I didn't know that. At that time, that hurt floored me. That pain, I felt in every cell of my being. I felt it. And you may be feeling that right now. So I am here to tell you, as I am doing my decade in review, listen, don't let what you went through these past few years, these past few months, these past few weeks determine who you're going to be in 2021. Don't let it determine what your future looks like. Those things that we go through, although they bring us a lot of pain, that is growth, you guys. That is growth. When you can look back and say, dang, I did that. Like, I actually did that. I can't believe I'm still standing. Like Sister Green say, if you never fall down, you will never know how to get yourself back up. Right now, you may be in the midst of getting back up. I will fall down on the ground, you guys, but I may not be able to get back up because this knee been bothering me. But anyways, that's not to say that I'm going to stay down there. I'm just using it as a metaphor, you guys. It's possible. It's possible. I went through a transformation, and it started with my mind. When I came here to Chicago in 2018, July of 2018, I knew that it was either do or die. It was either get this taken care of, do what you need to do to get your life back on track, or you're going to die. Like, I felt that. I felt that if I did not do what I needed to do to get a job, to get a house in a totally brand new place, that I would have not been here to see 2020. No matter how challenging it was, I wouldn't have been here to see 2020. I know that. I know God set me on this path for a reason. When I started the journey of coming here to Chicago, I didn't think I was coming to Chicago. I was trying to run away from those things that kept pulling on me, that wasn't bringing me joy anymore, that wasn't breathing life into me. Slowly but surely, I was dying from the inside out. And I knew that. God knew that. So I started looking. I started putting my resume out there to all of these positions. And I was like, I'm just going to, like a fishing pole, I'm just going to throw my reel out there and see what I can catch. Well, the positions that I started catching were in Michigan. So I just knew I was going to Michigan. I had 3 interviews, and one of the interviews, for three different positions. In one of the interviews, I had 3 interviews. They were legit about to fly me out to Michigan. But then I didn't hear anything. And it was like, okay, God, you put this job in my atmosphere, but nothing's happening. So I'm standing in the doorway to my mom's bedroom talking to her, and I got tears in my eyes, and I'm like, I'm not, like, they aren't calling me back. And it was surprising because it was like 3 interviews. Usually by that time you have the job, but they just were not, there was no communication. It had ceased. And my mom, with her, positive attitude towards me, well, booby, it probably just wasn't meant for you. Whatever's meant for you, you're going to have. I'm like, okay, Ma, so I go. At this time, I would sit outside on her porch, and I was writing a lot because writing is therapeutic for me. So I was writing, and I was like, well, let me just put some more resumes out there, which I did. And I saw a job posting for Chicago. So I said, okay, let me send my resume for this job. Now, mind you, I hadn't talked to my nephew who lives here in Chicago. He was here before I was. But I said, let me put my resume out here. It wasn't even 2 days later. No, I back that up. Actually, I called about a week later, the recruiter myself, and he was like, yeah, I was looking at your resume. You look like a very good fit, but I see you're still in New York. Are you planning to move to Chicago? I said, oh yeah, not planning to move to North Chicago, wasn't even on my list. Hadn't even talked to my nephew. So it's like, okay, redo your resume with the Chicago address and then send it back over to me. So I did all of that. It wasn't even 2 hours later that he called me back. He was like, okay, I talked to the hiring manager and she would like you to come and interview. When can you be here? Now, remember, I had not spoken to my nephew. He was at work. I'm like, oh, I can be there by, I think it was the 1st or something like that. He called me back and he was like, well, they would like you here by such and such date. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a dime to my name. I couldn't even buy myself a Tim Hortons coffee for $1.69, you guys. But with God, I was going to make it happen. And I made it happen. I was able to get the money that I needed to get me a ticket to Chicago. And I had $350 in my pocket when I got here. Now, mind you, I didn't have a home, I didn't have a job, and I only had $350. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that I could not leech off of my nephew, so I had to make it happen. And I did. I went to that interview, and my nephew always talks about it. He is like, you're the only one I know that can come to a new city and interview for one job and get it. Yes, I did that. You know why? Because I had confidence in myself. I had confidence in myself and my back was against the wall. I had to make it happen. So as I'm unpacking and I'm remembering all of this stuff, I'm like, girl, you did that. Like the first 7 years, you guys, were horrible when this decade started. They were horrible. I legit had a nervous breakdown, was in the mental institution and all of that. But God. So when I started feeling those feelings that I was feeling back there, it surprised me. It took me for a shock, and I was like, something gotta give. So I had to slow down and figure out what was going on with me. And I was able to do that. I was able to look at everything that I had overcame because I knew I had to get that grateful heart because I was feeling ungrateful. And I knew, everywhere that God had brought me, I had no reason to be feeling ungrateful. And I wanted to get that out, right away, like remove that feeling because I knew where I came from. So I was able to do that. And I realized that for me, I need to be leveling up in my life. And when I feel like I'm not, when I feel like I'm stagnant, I need to start moving. And I had come to a point in my life where I felt like I was stagnant again, and it was not making me happy. I know my personality. I am one of those high achievers. I am. But that's what makes me me. And there's something that makes you you that's not making you happy right now because you aren't your authentic self. So I'm asking you, as we leave this decade, as we leave 2020, and we've been able to reflect, if you have not been able to reflect, take these last few days and reflect over your life and ask yourself, are you living your authentic self? Are you being who God wants you to be? Are you happy with who you are right now? If any of those questions are not a yes, figure out why. Figure out why. Don't worry about what you had to go through. Think about what you can do to change your life. Think about what you can do so that you can be happy, because you do deserve to be happy, even though it may not feel like that right now. Even though the people around you may make it seem like you don't deserve to be happy because of your past, because of something that you may have done in your life. You do deserve to be happy. Sometimes life deals us cards that we may have to reshuffle a few times. Listen, 2021 is coming. I'm reshuffling my deck. I'm reshuffling my deck because I know I deserve. And I know God brought me from a place of despair. God brought me from a place where I did not want to be here. I'm not going to let him down. I'm not going to let him down because he's given me another chance over and over again. And I know what I'm capable of now. I didn't know that back then because I was filled with so much negativity based on the things that happened to me. I was absorbing that. I was absorbing those things and it was becoming me. But that's not who I am. That's not who I am at all. But because I couldn't see past the things that I had gone through, I didn't even give myself a try. I didn't give me a chance, you guys. Give yourself a chance. Don't focus on the negativity. Don't focus on the hurt. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on you. Focus on what you can do with your life. Focus on leveling up your life. Don't settle. Settling should never be an option, especially when it has to do with your happiness. Settling, we settle for everything. We go and sign a contract and settle for just what they give us. We go and get these vehicles thinking that they're going to make us happy. Like, we'll go and get an expensive vehicle with a car note before we get a house with a mortgage. A car that's going to depreciate, but we won't sign a contract to level ourselves up. We won't do that, but we'll do something crazy like go and spend $1,000 on some clothes that's just going to make us look pretty on the outside, but what about what's going on in the inside? We focus on the wrong things in life, you guys. I was focusing so much on the wrong things for a long part of my life. So now I'm changing my focus. And I'm asking you, what are you focusing on? What are you going to focus on in the new year? 2020 was a year of vision. It was. We were forced to look at our lives. What did you find out about yourself? What did you find out about your life? There were so many breakups. You know why? Because we were forced to look at our lives, and many of us did not like what it looked like. So if you do not like what your 2020 looked like, what are you going to do about it? Ask yourself that. What am I going to do to change my life? That's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful new year. It can be yours if you want it. All you got to do is reach out and grab.